Why King Vong, the infamous Chirac gunman, smoked K.I. is a question that we still ask today. Before all the fame and money, Vong had some scary tactics in the streets. As a matter of fact, he pretended that he had feelings for a girl called K.I., another dangerous Chitown shooter. He planned out every move just to get closer to K.I. and make her drop her guard. And once the time was right, Vong went right in it. Here's why he did it. King Vong, whose real name was Devon Bennett, was born and raised in the tough old block neighborhood of Chicago's South Side. Vong's dad, Ada Park Silk, wasn't around much because he was always getting locked up. Sadly, when Vong was just 11, his dad had a terrible ending. By the time Vong hit 16, he got caught up in jail for the first time, and it didn't stop there. He kept going in and out of the system for the next 10 years until his life was tragically cut short in late 2020. As part of the BDs, the Black Disciples, Vong held it down for the O-Block crew, rolling with other rap heavyweights like Chief Keef and Lil Durk. O-Block got its name as a tribute to Odie Perry, a well-respected member of the BDs who got killed back in 2011. Unfortunately, Odie was just one more casualty in the never-ending war between the BDs from Parkway Gardens and the GDs, representing the 63rd and St. Lawrence area, also known as STL, EBT, or Tukaville. There's a rumor going around that a girl named Kikira Barnes, aka K.I., was responsible for Odie's death. You probably heard of K.I. before. She was a teenage girl who climbed her way up to becoming one of the most feared gang members in all of Chicago. Despite starting out like any other normal girl, growing up in the violent South Side exposed her to so much death and violence that she adapted to her surroundings pretty quickly. Her father was killed when she was just a baby, so she grew up with a protective instinct towards those close to her. As a teenager, she started hanging out with some GDs from the neighborhood, one of them being Tuka. In case you didn't know, Tuka, whose real name was Shondell Gregory, was a 15-year-old member of the Black Disciples who also got killed in 2011. After Tuka's death, the St. Lawrence area was renamed Tukaville in his memory. Tuka's death hit K.I. hard, and it played a part in her transformation into a ruthless individual. The BDs targeted Tuka in retaliation for the death of Edric Walker, who was supposedly killed by GD members. After Tuka's death, disrespecting him in music became a common thing for rappers from O-Block, including big names like Chief Keef and King Vong. The O-Block and STL beef was no joke, especially after all the Tuka dissing took place. That's what sparked the tension between K.I. and King Vong. Once Tuka was gone, K.I. got deeper into the streets, no doubt. Word on the street is, on Tuka's birthday, K.I. and FBG Butta went out rolling, hunting for ops. That's when they came across Odie Perry and shot him off his bike. Now, Odie was part of the BD set called Wick City, which later became O-Block. At first, nobody could believe that a teenage girl could take out a high-ranking member of one of the wildest gangs in Chicago. But as K.I.'s reps in the street grew, they couldn't deny the truth, man. K.I. was one of the most ruthless killers Chirac had ever seen. K.I. didn't just go after ops, man. She went after anyone who disrespected her, even other females. She supposedly shot at T-Roy's female cousin, a respected member of O-Block. The cousin ended up snitching, but K.I. still beat the case. And it ain't just the streets that she was putting work in. She was bragging about her activities on social media too, tweeting stuff like, "Shout out to Odie for being target practice, LOL, #STL. And that's where her connection with King Vong started. Even though Vong and K.I. were considered ops, they had this weird mix of respect and flirtation going on. In a documentary about K.I.'s life, even Vong admitted later on that he used to have a crush on her back in the day. But don't get it twisted, just because they had some respect for each other as ops doesn't mean that they were cool. They were still bitter rivals, and if they ever caught each other slipping, it was on sight. Their relationship might be strange to some, but it was always a form of manipulation by Vong. One minute they'd be taunting and threatening to kill each other, and the next minute they'd be soft. Like Vong once tweeted, "Kira be sounding sexy on the phone on David." He even tweeted at her once saying, "Good afternoon, wifey." She responded with a laugh like, "LOL, funny ass, what up, dude?" So even though they were enemies, it wasn't all just hostility between them. But their conversations weren't always lovey-dovey. There was an incident where K.I. tweeted something about Odie's death, and Vong reminded her about the time when he allegedly beat her up on the train. In the tweets, Vong kinda confesses to catching K.I. alone on the train and giving her a beatdown. So just because Vong kept sweet-talking her in, it didn't mean he was gonna let her forget that they were ops and she killed one of his close friends. After that, Vaughn supposedly went looking for K.I. at a corner store, but some of her friends blocked him from getting in. Vaughn took to Twitter to vent about the situation, and as time went on, their relationship got more hostile and less friendly. In 2012, K.I. tweeted, "You was a goofy like 2 years ago when my twin FYB Butter beat your ass, but you drilling now," laughed my ass off, little Davon. That obviously set Vaughn off, and they got into a full-blown Twitter war after that. Around that time, Vaughn also started beefing with another one of K.I.'s close friends, FBG Wooski. Wooski was another rapper and gang member from O Block, but he later moved to St. Lawrence after supposedly taking out a respected BD member called RIZZLE. Years down the line, Wooski got accused of killing another O Block member named Platoon, who happened to be close to King Vaughn. So as a form of retaliation, Vaughn took out a guy named Modell, who was Wooski's cousin. That's when Wooski became one of the most hated ops from O Block, and a strong mutual hatred between him and Vaughn started brewing. After Modell's death, Vaughn and Wooski went at it on Twitter. Things got heated real quick, and K.I. ended up getting caught up in the drama too. During this argument, Vaughn straight up admitted to having multiple bodies, and he didn't hold back in going after both Wooski and K.I. But right before things could get serious, Vaughn got arrested for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey and ended up spending the next couple of years locked up, fighting his case. The story goes that Vaughn took out Stuckey at a house party because the dude was giving him dirty looks. He left the party, got some backup from a BD homie named Big Mike, who happened to be Wooski's brother, and they went back to the party to shoot at Stuckey and his crew chilling on the front porch. Stuckey didn't make it out alive. A couple of others got injured in the shooting too. When the police started questioning folks, Big Mike snitched on Vaughn to get a lighter sentence. But when push came to shove, he chickened out and refused to testify, fearing retaliation from the BDs. Instead, he took the fall for the whole damn thing and got slapped with 28 years behind bars. No other witnesses had the guts to come forward and testify, and there wasn't much other evidence to pin Vaughn down, so he managed to walk free while Big Mike took the fall. But even while Vaughn was locked up, he couldn't stop thinking about taking out K.I. So when Vaughn got back on the streets, he was all about revenge on anyone who crossed him. Before his stint in jail, Vaughn was supposedly involved in another murder, this time of a local drug dealer connected to the Jaro City set known as P5. Rumor has it that Vaughn, along with other O Block members like J Money and T-Roy, ambushed P5 when he was out making a sale, pumping him with bullets over 15 times in the face and body. K.I. had a close relationship with P5, and while Vaughn was in lockup, she allegedly took her revenge by killing J Money. Just a few months before J Money got murdered, he and K.I. were going at it on Twitter, throwing threats at each other left and right. So even though Vaughn had a little crush on K.I., she had gone and taken out two of his homies, Odie and J Money. On April 11th, 2014, K.I. and FBG Butter were heading to Wooski's crib. Around 6:30 p.m., K.I. dropped her location on Twitter, and Vaughn and his crew saw it. So Vaughn, along with Big A, T-Roy, and Boss Money, left O Block and spotted Butter and K.I. It was the perfect chance for revenge for J Money and Odie. As soon as they saw the two, they started firing shots. Butter managed to escape, but K.I., she got hit multiple times and later died from her wounds. For years, it was a street rumor that Vaughn had taken out K.I., but the police never had enough evidence to prove it. However, years later, documents from the Chicago PD were leaked to the public, indicating that Vaughn was a prime suspect in her death. According to the paperwork, Vaughn gave two different alibis for the day of the murder and agreed to take a polygraph test. Although his alibis didn't confirm his exact whereabouts at the time of the shooting, and he never actually took the polygraph test he agreed to, the DA couldn't prosecute due to a lack of evidence. The leaked documents confirmed one of the oldest street rumors in Chicago. Vaughn was involved in the death of his main op, K.I. Some believe that there was no other way out for K.I. nor for Vaughn. They both lived a dangerous lifestyle that ended up taking the ultimate price. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. These two eventually both ended up reaping what they sowed. Condolences to both their families. This is so sad. But what y'all think about Vaughn's retaliation? Let us know what you think down about it in the comments section below. And if you like this video, you know the drill. Click like, click subscribe, share it with a friend or two. And as always, remember to keep it RIZZLE.